Alex J. Why sign OBJ when you could just draft Addison?
Are we interested in OBJ over here?
Orlovsky is starting to talk me into it.
He
He brought it up on Get Up today. He said best free agent fit for Odell. And he brought up the Steelers.
Okay.
And he brought up some good points.
Let me hear it. What did he say? I've been out. I've missed it.
He said, if you're the Steelers and you bring in OBJ, combine him with a Pickens and a Deontay, this offensive line you built up too, pick it on this rookie contract, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth. That's dynamic right there.
Yeah.
And he said to keep up with some of these top teams in the AFC, you're either going to have to build on defense to try to stop them or build up the offense. And in this case, the Steelers are doing both.
Correct.
So it makes sense. And if Odell has been interested in the Steelers in the past, remember that whole rumor he said that Tom wouldn't come get me?
2 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago. I feel like, because I was thinking about this today, I feel like his scenarios with the Browns and the Giants were not optimal. Because all of a sudden we started hearing that Odell's a cancer and stuff with the Giants, right in line with when Eli Manning's play starts to decline.
Yeah.
Giants become bad. Browns, we already know they're always a dumpster fire. Rams, didn't hear peep.
Right.
He was wide receiver 2, good coach out there. Now, there are some differences between us and the Rams, but the crux of just having a good organization here and Mike Tomlin, good structure, and we got some veteran guys on the roster now that you could compare to the Rams.
Yeah.
It's just we don't have the veteran quarterback like a Stafford. That could enable us not to draft the receiver.
Okay.
You got a guy who is a stud when healthy. Like, let's just be real. Even though he's not prime Odell anymore, we saw what he did with the Rams.
Yeah, facts. And in
Super
the
Bowl. I was
Yeah,
going
we
to
saw
say,
that,
Super Bowl
yeah.
pedigree. Bringing some of that experience.
Let's not act like he wasn't balling in the Super Bowl up until he got hurt. That was the other thing. It was like he was definitely doing his thing.
He was very helpful. So I think we talked about this a week or two ago, and I gave a definitive no because of what Odell will bring. Now I think Orlovsky talked me into like 50-50.
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed if the number's right. I thought the number would be higher. There were some reports he's looking for 15-20. Now he came out and said, no, I just don't want to accept $4 million, which is understandable. I think Odell's worth more than that. So maybe you have a happy medium. You get around like 8 to 10. That's feasible for us. You tell me Odell Beckham's your wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. It's just the risk is what comes with it. I don't know. Yeah. What side do you lie on? Because throughout a lot of Odell's career, there has been just drama, headlines. That's just what comes with Odell.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Right or wrong. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like if you get in a system, or he gets into a system that he respects the coach, respects the whole organization and just what we're doing, and at this stage in his career, like maybe he could be more of a leader. I'm a little intrigued.
It's funny. I'm watching you try to talk yourself into it.
I'm a little intrigued.
You try to talk yourself into it hard. I love it, too, because I could, like, on your face, I could just see you, like, battling it in your mind, like, yeah.
If we bring in Odell, that means we don't have to draft the receiver.
Yeah.
And that means we could just focus on left tackle, cornerback, first 2 picks.
Correct. Yeah.
That'd be sick.
So, I mean, the thing is this. Shout out to my dog, Dan, too, man. Love Dan, man. His work, what that dude been doing, man. That my dude. Shout out to Dan. But,
this was one take. I didn't mind from Orlovsky.
When we talk, Dan speaks exclusively from an X's and O's perspective. And from an X's and O's perspective, there has never been a reason to shy away from Odell. Odell makes every team better from an X's and O's standpoint. It's like Antonio Brown. Makes every team better in terms of X's and O's standpoint because of how talented they are, how dynamic they are, the big play capability. Heck, even with Odell coming off multiple ACLs, he still is a nice as heck receiver when he's healthy. That's the other thing. You're not asking him to come in here and be your number 1. You're just asking him to be a number 2. That's what you're asking him to be. Now, the issue is the price tag, so to speak, just because some people are going to bulk at anywhere 7 to 10 mil for a number 2 guy when you got a Deontay that's getting 18. But to me, you're not tripping on the productivity when you know it's Odell Beckham. Because even what you might lose in the sense of, yeah, he's not going to give you 100+ catches and 1,500 receiving yards. He's also still going to attract attention as your number 2, which is also going to do what for Pickens, which is also going to do what for Deontay. It's certain things like that where I feel, it's plenty of positive that come from him being here. The veteran in the locker room. Yeah, it's huge. Having a talent like Odell, you don't think that a guy like George Pickens and Deontay could use a person that they could look to that has already crossed where they're going to? Them dudes ain't been all pros yet. Odell done that. Odell been a megastar. He still is. So it's like he'll be able to communicate with both Pickens and Deontay in that vein, right? This is all from a positive perspective, all glass half full optimism. That's how I'm laying it out first off. And it's like, yeah, man, he would be extremely impactful for those guys. It would be a very comforting thing for Kenny to have a guy as your number 2
I'd like to
that
think
can
so.
cook. I'm giving you all optimism first, and then I'm gonna give you the reasons why we probably should not do it. I'm giving you both.
That's the question. Where's he at in his career right now? Like at 30?
I got you. Let me keep going. So Odell at this stage, he understands a couple of things. He's seen what happened to Antonio Brown. He's seen Chad Ochocinco, Terrell Owens. He's very familiar with those guys, so he understands where he is flirting with going. Because we could all agree, Odell is one more stop of having a cancer label or something negative happening there where they're going to be like, it's not worth it. So he understands that dynamic as well. But to me, if he is at this stage where you've seen the reports were that he wanted 20, he came out and wasn't rude, but he was just clear. I just simply said that 4 isn't enough. Ain't nothing wrong with that. This is Odell Beckham. This is a guy that's accustomed to making double digits, if we being real about it. So
I think that's very fair.
It's like 20. Yes, 20 is a lot for him, but 4 for Odell, I could understand him being a little offended by that or not wanting to sign up to put his body out there for that because he knows what he's capable of, but he also knows what he's already accomplished in this league. So I don't see a problem with that. Like I said, those are the positives, though. A lot of positives. Now, the negatives, well, we know the negatives. It could go A-B on us. It could go code red, blow up. Like, yeah, he's beating up the kicking net and looking at Kenny talking crazy to him, Because when you do have a young quarterback, and this is the difference too, you talk about New York. Obviously, we know the whole Eli situation and everything like that. But when they moved on from him and they put him in Cleveland, what was the one thing about Baker? Baker was never as established as Eli Manning was, right? So when I think of just that dynamic, just the respect factor, if I'm Odell, I have a hard time listening and respecting Baker to that extent if I'm not getting my numbers and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as the quarterback. Slightly different, you go out to LA with Matthew Stafford, veteran, established, already proven what he could do, so they meshed well. It wasn't like Odell was there all offseason either. He came on while they were already hot. So I just think the respect was a little bit easier for Odell to fall in line. Not complain if he wasn't getting a ton of targets. Not complain if he wasn't being featured because he was hopping on a moving train with the guy that was already doing it at a high level. My concern is with Kenny. Kenny is still new in this league. To fans, yeah, he's accomplished a lot. To fans, to NFL players, he's accomplished nothing. It's like, man, you got to do something more than what we just seen. Like, that's cool for the crowd. That's cool. Well, we won't draft a guy on you, but you haven't proven anything to the extent that you're above reproach and we truly believe that you're the guy without it just being lip service. That's the issue that I could potentially see with Odell if it's not going his way in terms of role, in terms of numbers, and he's looking at Kenny and it's like, yo, you need to be feeding it to me. And now you got Kenny playing that game of remember we talked about Baker Mayfield, right? Odell in the game with Baker, Baker struggled. Odell not on the field, Baker played great. And it was just like he didn't have to worry about that dynamic of, man, I got to get this guy the ball to keep him happy. And that's some of the concerns when I think of Kenny at this stage with Odell in contrast to when he was with Stafford. And then when you think back to him with Baker. So like I said, that's like the part that makes me nervous. And the part that he could come in here and, hey, George Pickens, man, I like your energy. But nah, bro, you need to demand. You need to be like this, bro. This is how you supposed to do it. Hey, Deontay, man, you be doing it soft, man, in terms of just, the subliminals on social media. Now, this is how you send a message, bro. Call your pops up and tell them say this. Like, you feel me? Like, that's the other that you got to worry about with Odell. Yeah, he's just a star. He's a celebrity.
Right.
So,
where's he at?
He is a celebrity, man.
Is he past some of that stuff? Or does he take the approach with him being 30? Someone brought up in the chat. Yeah. He's got a kid. Like, hey, man, been there, done that. I'm just here,
Yeah.
I really appreciate the Steelers organization, Mike Tomlin. Like, let's do this. You know,
Which
one of
one
those.
which one do you think he's at right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
You flirted with 30. It ain't like it's crazy. I've been at 30. 30 ain't like, oh man, I drastically just changed up my mind.
Here's what I'll say.
He's still.
I don't know. But if you don't want to take the risk, I understand that completely. I think there's a risk.
That's fair. It
that
is
you
definitely
get
a risk.
A little bit of a diva Odell potentially.
Yeah. To me though, is it weird that the number really matters? 10 versus a rookie.
Might be able to get like 6.
Well, because this is my thing. I would love it under 10. Under 10, I'd love it over a rookie because it's already know what it is. It's proven. And that's the premium for a proven former franchise caliber wide receiver. No matter what wide receiver we talk about in this draft, none of those guys have ever proven that they're franchise wide receivers in the NFL just yet. None of them have. Odell has. So there is a premium that comes with that. Regardless of if you like it or not, that's just how the business works. So if it's less than 10, if I can get it at 9, if I can get it at 8, I would love it at 7. But it has to be like in that range.
Steelers discount at 6.
Yeah, it would have to be in that range to make sense for me because of the risk. I'm not necessarily worried about Odell not knowing how to run routes and catch passes, man. Dude, man, he took a whole year off after the ACL. He's fine. You don't hold a private workout for teams, a private workout like that, if you're not 100% ready to go and you feel confident in what you can do. So by him doing that, man, it gives me the okay, like, yo, he's good athletically. I know what Odell brings, but the risk factor is definitely this thing could go nuclear in a hurry.
So 2 things I'm thinking. 1, Kenny ain't Baker in terms of temperament or anything.
Yeah,
like
he's not. Yeah.
The other thing is, too, I feel like Odell actually gave the Cleveland thing a chance for his first couple years.
I would agree.
Like, the drama wasn't there on a season-by-season
People
basis.
were trying
It's just
to
that
drum it up. I felt like
it was more of the on-the-field stuff. Like, literally, when Odell's not out there, they are
That's
better.
what you could see.
But then
Yeah.
you really saw it in Odell's last year up in Cleveland when his dad came out and was doing the all-22 and saying, look, Baker's missing my guy here.
Yeah.
He sucks at quarterback. He needs to get my son the ball. And then eventually, like a week or 2 later, Odell got cut and went to the Rams. So, like, that's another thing I don't want either. Like, I don't want the risk of, like, oh, just one random Sunday, Kenny didn't get Odell his targets. His
That's
dad
the
coming
risk.
out of nowhere,
That's
pulling
the
out
risk.
the all-22.
And the thing is this, Odell is still a guy that can get separation and run routes. So, no different than George Pickens saying I'm always open. But the controversy is, these are combat catches 50-50 scenarios. You could talk yourself out of it. With Odell, it's going to be, you're going to freeze frame it and highlight it and say, he is open right here. But if the quarterback was going through his progressions over here and this where he wanted to go with the ball, so the heck what? Like, he ain't the first person to run a route that got open that didn't get the ball. Like, that's a part of playing that position. But like you said, with Odell, it's more weight that comes with it when he
just us
complains or
talking
when
about
he
it.
says something.
Just the fact that we're talking about it.
Or the first time it happens and he on the field doesn't say anything, but physically his body. Think about how Deontay, George Pickens was showing their body language at times earlier in the season. Where you would, you know what I mean? You imagine if that's Odell doing that, instead of it just being us and Steeler Nation peeping that, that's ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, that's Shannon Sharp, that's Skip Bayless, that's the headline around Colin Cowherd, that's around the clock. Oh, look, Odell's upset again, man. Oh, hey, man, it's Kenny, I told you. And you got Cowherd, I told you Kenny wasn't good. I told you that.
He likes Kenny.
Oh, for now.
He's a Kenny guy.
All right.
Yeah, just the fact that we're talking about it concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, so that's my only thing, man. Other than that, like, in terms of the talent, Odell, without a doubt, I love his talent. But it's the wild card factor with them. So for the wild card factor, I need that number lower. I can't pay you premium Odell price, even if that is 10 right now. I can't pay that.
Yeah,
because of the wild card factor.
You want to be able to get out of it easy.
Absolutely.
Because if things go bad first 4 or 5 weeks, you could just cut them.
Seriously, man.
And be okay with it.
Seriously.
Maybe you're less okay with it if it's 10.
Yeah, I can't do it at 10. I can't.
6 or 7.
6 or 7, I could talk myself into it. And man, I'm throwing you on the IR. Just don't come back this year. You good, bro. Long-term IR, you good.
Maybe we just shouldn't do it. Maybe my initial take was right on that.
Yeah.
Just no.
He just made me nervous, man.
Because we're not talking about this at all with Jordan Addison.
Nah, you don't have to. Shoot, it could be Jordan Addison, it could be Jackson Smith and Jigba, it could be Tank Dell, it could be any of them other dudes. You're not tripping on that. but it's because of the specific player. It's no different. We could be saying Julio right now. Julio doesn't have any of this other stuff with it. You say Antonio Brown, this the other stuff that would come with it. It's certain players that just through their course of actions have put themselves in this position where now you have to weigh talent versus distraction.
Noise.
Yeah, and it's not always fair, but it is legit. It's the Kaepernick. It's no different than that, just without the political part backing it. But it's always, does your talent outweigh the distraction? Odell's talent used to be so great that it did outweigh it. Now with the couple of injuries, we've seen the productivity slip just a tad. So now you're asking yourself, is it truly worth it? And that's the issue right now.
Again, we didn't hear anything out of LA when he was there.
Yeah.
Everything was all in well.
But they were winning.
They were winning.
Did they lose a game when he was there?
I don't know.
Because that could be the other dynamic.
Yeah, he was playing good and stuff.
I mean, they won a Super Bowl.
He was their wide receiver 3 to begin with, and Woods got hurt.
Woods got hurt their first week there. His first week there.
Yeah, I think you're right. So what is it more of, most of his career where he's in the headlines, or just that 1.5 season with the Rams?
Which they won the Super Bowl in. Like, to win a Super Bowl, it's like, I think about one of my most fun years. It was when we went to the NFC Championship game, because you winning so much. We won 12 freaking weeks in a row, Deke. You know how long that is to just keep winning? You forget what it feels like to lose. You know how hard it is to be upset when all you do is win? It's like literally every week you just winning. You can't figure out something to get upset with, man. Odell probably was riding that gravy train like that too, man.
The intriguing part about it is shoring up that wide receiver 3, though.
Oh, yeah.
At a discounted rate,
filthy.
with the upside of having Odell at least
filthy.
potentially getting back to some version of himself.
Odell as a remnant with GP.
I feel like
Deontay
Kenny could cook too.
crazy.
If you with Odell and Deontay creating separation like that,
it'd be crazy.
and it frees us up for the draft. Like I said,
That gives us way more flexibility.
That gives us. Don't worry about receiver in those first 3 or 4 rounds. Then draft corner, draft left tackle, but also maybe potentially draft that tight end too, and like a Darnell Washington, or you get that third linebacker, that athletic coverage guy. You could bring in a Drew Sanders, or who's the other guy? Trenton Simpson.
Yeah,
that's what really intrigues me.
You definitely got some options with it,
because there's no other receiver that entices me like that out on the market right now.
Yeah, currently, yeah.
For that type of contract, that type of upside, combined with the receivers we already have. The other guys you're bringing, it's just like, oh, we're bringing in a veteran presence, or like, a good possession guy.
Yeah.
Could be a little safety valve.
Odell is the last of the remaining free agents right now that has true franchise wide receiver potential. But at the same time, he does have a ton of baggage, and that's part of the conversation surrounding him. Because if it wasn't for the baggage, you'll talk yourself out of that ACL. You ain't tripping on that. You'll definitely talk yourself out of that, because you've seen him come back from it before. And it's really become one of those things that
he's
a
got
lot
extra
of people,
time coming back from
he
it
took
too
a
now.
whole year, so you never had to even see bad.
So it's really going to be like a year and months now. Some addition, like 4 or 5 months from.
Absolutely. So it's like you could talk yourself into all of that. It's literally the off-field stuff, the distraction, what comes with him, and that's something that only time will tell. Shout out to the Odell. Shout out to Alex, man. Alex then got us fired up, man, starting this thing out early. All right. And I see a lot of y'all done came to the party too. Why don't y'all hit that like button since y'all done pulled up on us too, man. Salute y'all. I missed all the company, man. All the crowd, man. Dang. Odell do that to you, though. See, he's a star like that, bro. That's the Odell effect.
Another point in Odell's favor, even Jordan Addison's favor, is if, knock on wood, one of our receivers goes down, we don't have much proven after that. I know we're excited about Calvin Austin, but if you have an Addison or an Odell and Pickens has to miss a few weeks, or Deontay has to miss a few weeks, you're feeling fine then with a Pickens and Addison wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 combo with an Anthony Miller or Calvin Austin in the slot. Or if it's Pickens, Odell with an Anthony Miller or Calvin Austin in the slot. Something like that. Another thing to consider. I know it's been down on our priority list this offseason, getting that slot receiver. But as we've been addressing all these needs throughout free agency, it's slowly getting up there. something to think about.
I just got to shout out Omar Khan, man. Omar Khan got Deke in here hollering Jordan Addison in the first, and now they got us on Odell Becham in free agency, man. That's what Omar Khan has done. Y'all get Omar Khan a round of applause, man. He been kicking tail, man, with his O-line moves,
the way he's wheeling and dealing.
moves.
He might be thinking Odell. I mean, if this was Colbert, I don't think we would. But
Deke came in here like, hey, y'all might hate me, but can we talk Odell? Jeez, I love it, bro.
I might hate myself for talking about it.
Because when you was talking, I'm like, yo, I could have sworn we just had this conversation like a week ago, and you was like definitive.
Yeah.
No. Like, you was like, no. And I was like, I agree. Like, I get it, man. Like, there's a lot that comes with that. But you came here today with a whole other, like,
Orlovsky.
Listen, man.
He had a nice little 1 minute spiel, and I was like, you know what? He has a point. Think of our offense with Odell. Kenny, Odell,
I mean, it has a chance, though.
Pickens, Deontay,
like I said, if it was just Odell talent.
Nice O-line.
But think, just Odell talent is no different if we're saying just Antonio Brown talent. The problem is we can't separate the talent from everything else that comes with it. Otherwise, Antonio and Odell would be employed right now because the skills are there. Like, man, we know what they're capable of.
I think there's different levels between the two, though.
I would also agree. I would definitely.
Like, Odell is actually getting courted by NFL teams. He's probably going to play again.
I would agree.
AB is
but
gone.
But what I'm saying,